So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it as short as possible. And the people who are watching this live, you can always chat with me in the comments, and I can go ahead and give you the respective answers that you need. But I'm going to keep this as short as possible. I'm going to go ahead and add my screen, and the layout is going to change in a moment. And I'm going to share some key important points, and then let's go through it. I have it already written down. Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen. You should be able to see my screen right now. So let's start with this topic as to how you start your career in DevOps. And I would like you to think about all of these questions that you are seeing on the screen right now. You know, it's very, very important because there are a lot of freshers with the same question, and there are a lot of industry people who are right now trying to switch their domain from some other domain like testing or from system administration or Linux administration to the space of cloud and DevOps. So this is in something in regards to starting your career in DevOps. We will have a similar video probably sometime around next week in regards to how to start your career with cloud-based technologies and so on. Okay. So, but this is for DevOps. So the first question that I would like all of you guys to think is how an application is being developed. What kind of practices are you using? Are you using the monolithic architecture, or are you going with a microservice based architecture, or are you going with some of the patterns of serverless, where you are refactoring your application to support serverless based methodologies in terms of app development? And now you can think to yourself, Akshay, DevOps is more about CI/CD, IAC, and configuration management and all that. But why do you say that, think about how an application is developed? And the reason I say that is because DevOps is nothing but developer and operations. And developer is the is non-existent, right? You don't study the development aspects, and you always think to yourself, if I do a CI/CD pipeline, that's all DevOps is all about. Of course not. You need to think like a developer to be a really good DevOps resource. And then comes the operation part of it, which is only 40%. But you need to understand how applications are developed, which is the 60% aspect, according to me, in regards to how I have crafted my career uh, throughout the last 4 years to be in this position right now. So the first thing is think about how an application is developed. And now the second question that I would like you to think about is what kind of application it is. Is it a backend application that you're deploying, or is it a Android based application, or is it a front end application, or is it an iOS based application, or is it just database scripts that you are creating as a stored procedure, or probably just a file of SQL syntaxes and so on. So think about what kind of application it is, and then think about the three-tier architecture. Think about how you would create a highly available fault tolerant network for your three-tier architecture, and then think about how you would possibly expose your front-end application to the outside world. There are multiple strategies, and how you would possibly deploy your front end application, and then how this front end application integrates with the backend, and how you can deploy your backend application. What kind of programming language are you going to use? And then whether that backend application is developed using monolithic practices, whether it's a very big monolith, or whether you have segregated it into different microservices, and how these microservices integrate with each other in terms of API calls or application programming interface calls. And then how do you host your database, and how do you deploy your database scripts? These are all things that I want you to think about before even going towards the operations side of things as part of DevOps. And the next thing is, I want you to think about how the integration or the interaction between the layers happen. How does the front end talk to the back end? How does the back end talk to the database? How are your API calls created? You can have an API called slash students to list all the students, but you can also have an API called slash students that would allow you to create new students. So I would like you to think about how you would possibly use the HTTP methods of get, put, post, patch, delete, and so many other methods in terms of the interactions between the microservices, or or the interaction between your backend, your database, and so on. And how would you also go ahead and create the CRUD operations, which is create, read, update, and delete. Whether you are creating new records, or whether you are reading some records, or whether you are updating any records in your database, or whether you are deleting any records in your database. I want you to think about all these things. Okay. And then comes as to what are you deploying? You are deploying an application, but what kind of application is it? Is it just a standalone Java application? Or is it an enterprise Java application with a web page? Extremely sorry, I think I just logged out. Yep. And then whether it's a Spring Boot application with Spring MVC in place, or whether it's a .NET application, or whether it's a Python application, or whether it's a Golang application, I want you to think about all these things. Let me see if the live is continuing. Yep, I think it's continuing. Beautiful. Okay. So once you think about how you are deploying and what kind of application it is, I'm just going to move around my cursor so that this laptop doesn't sleep off. It's my office laptop, so I can't modify that setting. So after thinking about all these things, then comes as to how what is the strategy that you would possibly use to deploy an application. I want you to think about that, whether your application is just going to be hosted on virtual machines, or whether you're possibly going to use a cluster of virtual machines with a new strategy called as Docker installed, which works with microservices based applications, and the new normal of deploying applications where I think at least 30% to 35% of the world has moved towards Kubernetes, which is a cluster of virtual machines that is running the Kubernetes software, which has a control plane and a data plane. And we have a very nice video on the Tamil Cloud channel in Tamil for getting started with Kubernetes with EKS. I would highly ask you to take a look at that. So once you think about the strategy of how you are going to deploy your application, it could also be, if it's serverless, you could also think about how you would do it with Lambda and API gateways and DynamoDB in terms of the entire serverless framework or serverless stack. Once you have thought about it, next question that I want you to think about is, where are your applications going to be running? Are they going to run on on-premise based infrastructure? Probably when you consider banking or financial domains, you have OpenShift, which is Red Hat's product, which is a layer over Kubernetes, but has some enterprise features in it. Are you going to use on-premise in terms of OpenShift for container orchestration, or you're possibly going to use just virtual machines created in your on-premise environment? Or are you going to use cloud-based platforms like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform? And even in that, are you going to use an IaaS or infrastructure as a service-based offering? Or are you going to use a platform as a service-based offering, something like Elastic Beanstalk on AWS, Microsoft App Service on Azure, and Google App Engine on GCP platform? I want you to think about all these things. And then comes, once you have decided the kind of, where your application is going to run, and probably it's on premise or cloud, I want you to think about how you would possibly create that infrastructure. Whether you're going to use some IAC tool like Terraform or Pulumi or CloudFormation or ARM templates or Google Deployment Manager using Jinja 2 and Python based scripts. Are you going to use any one of these technologies to create your infrastructure? And there are benefits behind doing something like this. You have organization wide governance and compliance. You also can create modules which are reusable in nature. You can create infrastructure that is immutable in nature, that you can just create and destroy. It's like cattle. So those are some of the advantages when you use infrastructure as code based tool like Terraform or Pulumi and so on. And then the next question that I want you to think about is, how can you configure that infrastructure? How can you install packages? So let's say, for example, if there is a company out there that is using close to 800 or 900 servers, how would you ensure that all these servers are in an ideal state, that they have an ideal configuration, that they have this package already pre-installed? You can use some kind of configuration management tools like Chef, Ansible, or you can learn Bash scripting, or you can also go ahead and learn something like Packer by HashiCorp, which allows you to create Amazon machine images and Docker images, which have a set of tools already pre-installed. So now, organization wide, you can create an Amazon machine image for Linux based operating systems. You can create one for Windows based operating systems. In that way, again, you have best practices in play. You have organization wide compliance and governance in play. So that's something that I want you to think about. This is if you are working with a fleet of servers, or probably you can use Ansible Tower, a really nice offering. So think about all these things. And then last two more questions is, think about how you would take the application to that infrastructure. We were discussing about how an application is developed. Those are the first few questions. And then you make decisions in regards to where you are going to run it and so on, and how you're going to create that infrastructure. But now I would like you to think about, how do you take your application code to that infrastructure? You can use any CI/CD tool out there. You can learn any one and then learn one after the other. Something like learn Jenkins or learn GitHub Actions or learn GitLab CI or learn Bitbucket pipelines or Azure DevOps or AWS Code Suite. Learn any one of them and then do POCs or proof of concepts on the others. After 4.5 years of being in the industry or in the IT industry, I still take the efforts to talk to my close friends. I would like to do a shout out to Sriram and Sri Balaji, who are my close friends who motivate me every single day to do more POCs. So yesterday we spent the entire day doing POCs around Kafka, and we were using the Amazon's MSK service, managed Kafka service in regards to that. So you have to do more POCs for you to gain more knowledge. You can't think to yourself that DevOps is all about just operations and just work with Linux and one CI/CD tool and call it quits. If you want to propel your career much further, you have to learn each and everything there is to learn in the market. And my only personal advice to all of you is, find your interest and don't filter any technology. Don't think whether I can learn this particular technology or whether it's going to become outdated in a few months, or whether it would bring down my career and so on. This was a question that I got today morning in the Telegram channel of Tamil Cloud. So what I would suggest is, don't filter any technology. Learn anything there is to possibly learn and keep becoming better, so that you get a better salary, so that you can take care of your families much better and you don't have much commitments out there. There are a lot of people who have education loans. There are a lot of people who have loans that were taken by their father or mother. For them, I would just suggest, keep studying, be consistent, do your hard work, earn a really good salary, pay back all of those loans, and live a good life. You are only going to go ahead and concentrate about your own life and how you set up a family and how you take care of your kid, because you know that education is pricey. You know that by the time that your kid finishes school, you're going to spend 15 lakhs. You know that by the time that your kid goes to college, you're going to spend 2.5 lakhs per year. How would you be able to spend that 2.5 lakhs if you're only earning 6.5 lakhs or 7 lakhs? I would like all of you guys to go ahead and think about all these things on the non technical side. And one final question that I want to think about is security. We have an entire video of DevSecOps as to how you would do it in the pipeline using GitHub Actions. And there is one more video that when I recently shifted to Amsterdam in the month of April, I did one video on DevSecOps. I would like you guys to rewatch that video if you haven't, and learn more about DevSecOps and how do you introduce security into your pipelines, probably during the initial stages or during the development stages, or even when your application goes to the stage environment, as to how you do dynamic analysis of your code and so on. I would like you to also think about security. So with just these set of questions, now you have the right answers as to how to start your career in the space of DevOps. You start by thinking about the first question and you end by thinking about the last question. And then once you are wrapped up with all of this, the industry is always going to keep bringing in more technologies. I'm going to keep growing in my professional front. The people that you talk to are going to keep moving in their professional front. So always stay in touch with the latest technology, always keep following it, do more POCs, talk to more people on LinkedIn, get a lot of knowledge. And the above is the basics. And you can possibly learn that from scratch, probably from Code Cloud platform. A huge shout out to Mumshad. Probably you can get it on a Black Friday sale for 3,000 a year, and they are bringing out many new courses, and they are also bringing out cloud sandboxes sometime next year. So it's going to be really amazing for all of you to learn more from Code Cloud and become a really good DevOps engineer. But just remember to yourself, Code Cloud is only going to give you the basics. Code Cloud is only going to help you get started. But what I would like all of you guys to do is do more proof of concepts, try more new tools, try out, read the official documentation. Half of us forget to read the documentation. Read the documentation, do the exercises, do the labs, and then do a small project or reach out to me for a small project, and then put it on your profile, on your resume, and get the job in the DevOps space after doing all of this, and no shortcuts for you to propel your career further. And the duration that this would possibly take is if you spend 1 hour a day for the need to know aspects and for all of your POCs, you're probably going to complete all of this within 6 months or 7 months of time. And then you could possibly take another 2 to 3 months to work on a small project or do more POCs and so on. But the three important things are labs, practicals, and use cases. Start small, probably with just the first question, and I've given you the answers over here. Start small and improvise over a period of time, improve your career over a period of time, and then bring in the creativity, because DevOps is not something which you do in a said way. DevOps is a mindset, it is a process. You can do it in any way that you want to, but you should have good practices in play. You know. So with this, I'll possibly end this live. I'll just go on to some of the questions that possibly is there in the chat box, and then I'll wrap up. So I'm just going to stop my screen share. Okay, let's see. I think we just had only one comment from Tamil hackers. Can you send this doc? Do you know Tamil or not? I do know Tamil. And the only reason I do it in English is because we have a lot of subscribers from outside of India and not only from within India. And more so, the reason why I do it in English is because you can get some insights in regards to how to form your sentences. And the way that you do that, you can clear a lot of really good companies' interviews. You can't walk into an interview or you can't walk into a placement as a college student and say that I would like to talk in Tamil or I would like to talk in my regional language. You will possibly not get a job. If I was the hiring manager, I wouldn't give you a job if you talk to me in your regional language. And the reason is because most of the companies back in India do work for companies in the US, do work for companies in UK. We have so many service oriented companies, and the only way that you can scale your career is by learning the English language and communicating really well. Okay. So one more question I see from Swaminathan Bala is, as a fresher, good to start with DevOps? Yes, of course. So there is no criteria that as a fresher or as an experienced person only you can start with DevOps and all that. If you are really good, you can easily crack an interview which is for a 2 years experienced person or even a 1 year experienced person, and you can get a job. Just keep doing the hard work to become good. Don't think about that only experienced candidates are being hired for DevOps and all that. You make sure that you become an experienced candidate and then you get a job. Very simple. I would say just only concentrate on your career and don't think about the factors that are around you. Okay. So will there be more remote DevOps engineer jobs in the future? Yes, of course there are. Because of the COVID pandemic and so on, there are so many remote DevOps engineer jobs. It's just that like the way that you are consistent in regards to your studies, you have to also be consistent in regards to searching for jobs on literally all of the job-based platforms. So please ensure that you are also consistent on applying for jobs. And I'm pretty sure that if you are a good DevOps engineer, you can get a job. But ensure that you become good. Okay. So Alavandan is asking, please create a video for application run Kubernetes. So Alavandan, if you see our course material, we have one for ECS, but soon we will try to go ahead and work towards, a full application deployment on Kubernetes. But we already have one on the Tamil Cloud channel that is coming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, if I'm right, for ECS based deployments. And should web dev learn DevOps? Yes, of course, Dharmic, web developers should also learn DevOps. Like I said, for anyone who's working the software engineering or software development domain as a front-end developer or a back-end developer or probably a database administrator, for them, cloud and DevOps is an added advantage. Why wouldn't you learn that if you know that with that knowledge you can get 15 lakhs in just 2 years of experience or 20 lakhs in just 3 years of experience? Why wouldn't you learn that? So don't ask questions in regards to whether someone should learn something and then see where you can apply it. That's my only advice. It may come out harsh, but that's my only principle in life is to keep learning and then see where I can apply it rather than thinking about whether I should learn it or not. So Dharmic, for you, you should learn DevOps if that's what you want me to say. And the headphone I'm wearing is, yes, a Sony headphone. Yeah. but I'm not sure about the model. Yeah, so Karthik is asking the AWS course is enough to clear solutions architect. I would probably say that for the new version of the exam, I would still ask you to take a look at my course because it's completely practical in nature also, and you have a lot of use case scenarios. But if you want to clear the exam, I would suggest three more steps. I would ask you to go through Stefan Marek's course content just through a revision. I would ask you to do a lot of practice tests on different platforms like Tutorials Dojo or BrainCert or WizLabs and so on, and then go through Jayendra Patel's blog, and then go ahead and clear your exam. So Karthik, that's the solution for you. Go through my entire course and then go ahead and also revise Stefan Marek's course for the exam based bullet points, practice test, and then go ahead and write your exam. But ensure that you get above 90% on the practice test and then go for the exam. Otherwise, please don't write the exam. Okay. And Dharmik is, how do you find remote startup? I don't know, man, because I am working for a company that has close to 1,600 employees. And I don't think we can call ourselves a startup company, but I am working out of their head office in Amsterdam. So I'm not sure about remote startup because if I was, I have never had the opportunity to work remote because there was one option in regards to that, but I ensured that I was able to travel to Amsterdam to work for this organization. So I'm probably not sure how remote startup would be, but I guess you can always go ahead and put out this question on LinkedIn, and a lot of people would give you replies. You know, so I'm just possibly going to wait for another 2 more minutes for any other questions, and then I'm going to wrap up. So Vignesh is asking, is there any certification as of now offering discounts? I'm not exactly sure, but you can join the Tamil Cloud Telegram channel. And if suppose there is any certifications, in terms of discounts and all that, or any certification vouchers, I'm pretty sure that Suresh Kumar will take the efforts to, put it on the Tamil Cloud Telegram channel. You know. Okay. Do you know any particular event like GSOC for students? Uh, I'm not exactly sure, but yes, you can go ahead and look at Girl Script, Summer of Code. They always like doing that. They conduct a lot of coding events and mentorship programs and all that. So huge shout out to Anubhav for starting that. So please go ahead and look at Girl Script, Summer of Code. That's my only advice. But other than that, just search on Google, man. I'm pretty sure you can get a lot of events like GSOC and so on. But what I would suggest is if you're still in college, do some certifications. You will stand apart from all of your classmates in regards to getting the next level opportunity in the market. And the three steps, Karthik, for you is one more time go through Stefan Marek's course content as a revision, go through practice tests on BrainCert, WizLabs, and Tutorials Dojo, and then go for your actual exam. But then before going through your exam, read through some blogs and talk to some people who have already written the exam so that you get a really good idea of the exam experience. Perfect. I think we are pretty good in terms of the questions. Thanks a lot, guys. Uh, Take care. I'll possibly meet you in another live where we talk about how to get started with the cloud, how to get your career started, and so on. Okay. See you guys. Take care and have a good day. Stay safe. See you later. Bye bye.